Today I'm going to showcase the Necron Troop miniatures that I've collected over the last 20 years. It's coming right up.
Necrons!
Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, today I am showcasing the troops slots from my Necron army. I've been collecting Necrons for over 20 years. I've got so many models that I'm splitting this showcase down into separate videos, and today we're looking at Necron Troops. So I started playing in 3rd edition in 2001, and in those days we only had one troops choice, and that was the Necron Warrior. At the time, this model here was a fairly new kit. It hadn't come out long, replacing some metal warriors, which we'll look at more in a minute. This was actually my very first miniature that I built and painted, or at least this unit was. I have 3 units of 20 of these guys, so 60 warriors in total. I painted each unit of 20 differently, so the gun wire is a different colour, silver, dark green and light green, and then I split each unit of 20 into units of 10 by having different material on the bases. Obviously they came with 25mm bases in those days, and now warriors are on 32mm bases, so I have purchased some base adapters. I do need to get some more to bring all of the units up to date. In 3rd edition they were 18 points a miniature. We only had one weapon, the Gauss Flayer, and the Gauss Flayer was pretty decent. It automatically caused a glancing hit against a vehicle on a roll of a 6. Really nice. Necrons were actually very good at taking vehicles out in those days. And for 2 extra points you could give them disruption fields, which basically gave you the same rule against vehicles in the assault. There was only one detachment in those days as well, so you had to have 1 HQ and 2 troops, so you were quite committed to troops in those days, and the Necron Warrior, being so good as it was, well, it was a staple diet of a Necron army. The Necron Warrior has evolved quite a lot over the years. It's gone up and down in points many times. One of the big changes was when we had the 5th/6th edition codex, where the unit size was reduced to 5, so between 5 and 20. This made a massive change. We also had the Ghost Arcs introduced in this edition, which of course was a transport for the warriors. However, the warriors have changed quite dramatically over the years in terms of their rules. They started with a 3+ save and a really good weapon. The Gauss weapon special rule had been taken away from us over the course of the codices, and also they changed to a 4+ save. The points, as I said, changed quite a bit as well, so they became slightly cheaper in points to compensate. Now, when the new 9th edition rules came out, we got a brand new miniature and a brand new gun. These new models were released with the Indomitus box set. I bought 2 halves of the Necron set, so I ended up with 40 warriors. I built them all with the new gun, the Gauss Reaper, mainly because I had lots of Flayer guns already. The range is slightly shorter, but it's got a better strength. It's strength 5 rather than strength 4 on the Flayers. It also has a better AP. -2 AP as opposed to -1. These guys have just been announced that they've come down to 11 points, and I'm really looking forward to getting a lot more warriors on the table going forward. Okay, so now it's time to step back in time, a time before I even played Warhammer, the old metal Necron warriors. Necrons were first released in Rogue Trader, which is basically the 1st edition of Warhammer 40k, and we had these very cool Necron miniatures. Now personally I am a massive fan of the old classic miniatures. These of course are metal single sculpt miniatures, but I got a load of these off of eBay, etc., and I painted them up, and I've got 30 in total. Now a couple of these that I had were broken, so I thought it would be pretty cool to have them reanimating, a little bit like T-800 from Terminator. I am a massive Terminator fan, and these models just remind me of the original Terminator film. So with these 30 warriors, I now have 130 warriors in total. Only 2 units of 20 Reapers. I could potentially do with another unit of Reapers, but I think I have enough warriors. So let's go back in time again to 3rd edition. As I said, we only had Necron warriors as a troop's choice, but when we got the 5th/6th edition codex, we had a new troop's choice. That was the Immortal. The Necron Immortal had been moved from the Elites slot to the Troops slot. Troops were becoming more and more important in Warhammer 40k, being the only units to score objectives at one point. The Immortals used to be Toughness 5 with a 3+ save in the Elites slot, but when they moved to the Troops slot, they lost their toughness. Not only that, it was at this time that the Necron Warrior lost their save. So their save went from a 3+ to a 4+, and then the Immortals came in and they had the 3+ save. You could have units of between 5 and 10 Immortals rather than up to 20 of the Warriors. So the Warriors became a bit more of a disposable horde type troop choice compared to the Immortals. And the Immortals had a more powerful gun as well. They were higher in strength and had more shots. These Immortals, of course, are the old metal Immortals from that edition, but I do have one of the really old Raider Immortals, and that's this guy here. I only have one of these miniatures, so I spruced him up with loads of green stuff, scarabs on the base, and just made him as cool looking as I could. I have proxied this model as a Hexmark destroyer, as I only have one of them, and also sometimes he'll be an objective. Now the Necron Immortal has also changed over the years, in particular when this codex came out, which I believe is 6th edition. I'm not 100% sure, things get fuzzy, but in this codex we had the introduction of the Tesla Immortal. Not only did we get a new gun, we got a new plastic model. Now, as you can see from this table, I don't actually own any of these models. Well, actually I do, I just haven't got around to painting them. I've got some of the Gauss Blaster ones here for you to just have a look at. These models I need to strip and repaint into my colour scheme. But of course that's the Gauss Blaster version, and then we had the Tesla gun as well. Tesla was a brand new gun for Necrons. It was basically an infantry killing gun for our models. No AP, but we got more shots. When we rolled a 6 to hit, we gained additional hits. Now Tesla was really good back in those days, so Tesla Immortals was a thing, and I didn't own any models. So what I did is I used my Necron Warriors, the old ones, as Immortals because, well, they're actually quite similar in size to the Immortals that I had. So I used these as Gauss weapons and I used these as Tesla weapons. It worked. Obviously I do plan to paint up my Tesla Immortals, the new plastic ones, at some point. But for now, that's all I've got. I've got 20 Gauss Blaster Immortals, and then if I want Tesla, then I've got effectively 30 there, just using the Warriors as stand-ins. So that's my entire selection of troops choices. I've got some more in the cupboard which I do need to work on, so my troops choices will expand over time. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, here is my HQ video for you to check out next, and when it's available, this will be the Elites video in the series.